Buying a car. It's a huge deal, right? It's one of the biggest purchases most of us will ever make. And while it's super exciting, the stakes are incredibly high. A great car feels like a part of the family, but a bad one, a real lemon, well, that can turn into an absolute financial nightmare. So in this explainer, we're going to give you a clear, data-driven game plan to help you pick a winner.
And let me tell you, the stakes have never been higher. The average price for a brand new car has soared past $48,000. That's a lot of money. So making a smart, reliable choice isn't just about avoiding a headache. It's a massive financial decision.
So that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? With literally thousands of models and years out there, how do you cut through all the noise and make sure you don't drive home in a very, very expensive mistake? Well, that is exactly what we are here to break down for you.
Here's our game plan. First, we're going to look at the big picture with a brand-level report card. Then, we'll dive under the hood and look at powertrains to see which ones are causing the most problems. After that, we'll dissect 2 real-world failures to show you what to look out for. And finally, we'll wrap it all up into a smart buyer's guide that you can actually use.
Okay, let's kick things off with that big picture view, the reliability report card. We're going to use some hard data from consumer reports to see which brands are consistently building the most dependable cars and trucks out there.
And right at the top, we've got a new king of the hill. Subaru has actually climbed to the #1 spot this year. They've just nudged past Lexus and Toyota, who, have pretty much owned this category for years. It seems like Subaru's strategy of sharing reliable parts across their different models is really paying off. It means fewer surprises when they launch something new.
Now, let's flip the script and look at the other end of the list. Oof. Down at the bottom, we find GMC, Cadillac, and the EV startup Rivian. And just look at that score difference. Rivian is sitting at a 14, while Subaru is way up there at 68. This shows you just how massive the gap is between the best and the worst on the market right now.
But here's the thing, the brand name isn't the whole story. What you buy matters just as much as who you buy it from. This chart makes it pretty clear. Good old-fashioned cars, sedans, hatchbacks, they're still the most reliable type of vehicle you can buy, with an average score of 60. SUVs are a step behind at 49, and pickup trucks, well, they're pulling up the rear as a group with a score of just 36.
All right, let's get even more specific. We're moving from the brand and the body style down to the very heart of the car, the powertrain. Because as technology changes, so do the things that can go wrong. Now, this data right here might actually surprise you. You'd think with fewer moving parts, electric vehicles would be more reliable, right? Wrong. Turns out, today's EVs are reporting 42% more problems than regular gas-powered cars. And plug-in hybrids? They're even worse, with a staggering 70% more issues. It kind of makes sense when you think about it. You're cramming 2 complex powertrains into one car, which just opens up more doors for things to break.
So, is there a sweet spot for an electrified car? It really seems to be the traditional hybrid. I mean, they've been on the road for over 2 decades now, so the technology is really mature. These cars have about the same rate of problems as regular gas cars. Models like the Toyota RAV4 Hybrid and the Kia Sorento Hybrid are some of the best out there. But, and this is a big but, there are always exceptions. The Ford F-150 Hybrid, for example, isn't just a bit unreliable, it was the single least reliable model in the entire survey.
Okay, rankings and data are one thing, but to really understand the risk, you need to see what a failure looks like up close and personal. So in this section, we're going to dig into 2 real-world case studies, one of a flawed car model and another of a single flawed part that's causing problems across a ton of different vehicles.
Our first case is the Nissan Rogue. You see them everywhere, right? They're one of the most popular compact SUVs out there, known for being practical and getting good gas mileage. But hiding underneath that popularity, several model years have a persistent and very, very expensive flaw.
This table right here tells a really cautionary tale. If you're looking at a used Rogue, you have to know that across multiple years, and even across 2 different generations of the car, the same exact issue keeps rearing its ugly head. The CVT, or continuously variable transmission. Owners report all sorts of problems, from the car hesitating and juddering to the transmission just completely failing, sometimes at a surprisingly low mileage. It's a perfect example of why you can't just trust a brand's reputation.
So what's the real-world cost if that CVT gives up the ghost and you're out of warranty? Well, you're looking at a repair bill somewhere between $3,500 and $5,500. That one single repair could completely wipe out any money you thought you saved by buying that car. Ouch.
All right, on to our second case study.
Sometimes the problem isn't the whole car, but one single part that's shared across a brand's most popular vehicles. And that brings us to Ford's 10-speed automated transmission, also known as the 10R80.
Now, what you're looking at here isn't just some random complaint on an internet forum. This is a technical service bulletin, a TSB. It was issued by Ford directly to its dealerships. It's basically the company officially acknowledging, yep, we know there's a widespread problem here, affecting some of their biggest sellers. We're talking the F-150, the Explorer, even the Mustang.
So what's the actual issue? Well, to put it simply, a part deep inside the transmission called the CDF clutch cylinder can start to leak. And when that happens, you get these really harsh, clunky shifts or long delays when you put the car into gear. It's a fundamental design flaw in a really important component.
And if you're wondering just how serious this is, just look at this slide. You don't even have to be a mechanic. This is just a partial list from that TSB of all the parts that might be needed for the fix. When you see a list this long, you know it's not a quick and easy job. It's complex, it's time-consuming, and it would be unbelievably expensive if you had to pay for it yourself.
Okay, after seeing these real-world examples, how do you actually protect yourself? How do you turn all this information into action when you're out there shopping? In our final section, we're going to build your 5-step playbook for buying smart and protecting your wallet.
Here it is. 5 simple but incredibly powerful steps. 1. Start with reliable brands. Use the rankings as your starting point. 2. Dig deeper. Research the specific model and, this is crucial, the specific year you're looking at. 3. Know your powertrain. Understand the trends for gas versus hybrid or EV. 4. Do your homework. Actively look for those technical service bulletins and any recalls for that exact car. And 5, and this is probably the most important step of all, always get a pre-purchase inspection from an independent mechanic you trust before you sign a single thing. It is the best $150 you will ever spend.
And really, it all boils down to this quote from Jake Fisher over at Consumer Reports. It perfectly sums up everything we've talked about. Brand rankings are a great way to get you started, but they are not the finish line. The real critical work is in researching the specific car you're about to buy.
Which brings us to a final thought. You know, the data tells a powerful story, but so does real-world experience. So we'll leave you with this question. Based on your own experience or what you've heard from friends, which car models have totally defied expectations, for better or for worse? It's just a good reminder that being an informed buyer is always your best insurance policy.